Welcome to The Explainer. We're diving into something pretty fascinating about higher education today. The PhD is supposed to be the absolute peak of learning. But what if the whole system, the very way it's built, is actually designed to push a huge number of people out? Let's get into the research. So let's start with this massive question, because it's at the heart of everything. Think about it. After years of intense work in some of the most advanced programs on Earth, why do so many brilliant people just walk away before getting that degree?
Get a load of this number. According to some really important research by Dr. Ronnie A. Rodas, and his work is the foundation for what we're talking about today, somewhere between 30 and 50% of all PhD candidates drop out. This isn't just a handful of people having second thoughts. This is a huge systemic pattern.
So what in the world is going on? This massive dropout rate acts like what some people call a great filter. It's this phenomenon that just makes you ask a really critical question. Is this whole thing just about being super difficult, or is there something else going on under the surface?
Now, the official story, the one you'll probably hear from a lot of universities, is that this is all just the price of excellence. I mean, it's a PhD, right? The highest degree there is. It's supposed to be incredibly hard. And all those dropouts? Well, that's just proof that the standards are sky high. It's a feature, not a bug.
But this is where Dr. Rodas's research really pushes us to look deeper. It asks, is this system truly just about academic rigor? Or is it designed on purpose to do something else entirely? Is it filtering for something more than just how smart you are?
And this right here really lays out the two competing ideas. On the one hand, you have that official story. Being this tough just means it's rigorous. But Dr. Rodas' investigation asks a much more uncomfortable question. What if the system is actually acting as a gatekeeper, designed to protect a certain elite culture and decide who gets to be an expert in our world?
Okay, so to really get this, we need to wrap our heads around a key idea from the research, the leadership filter. And this is crucial. It's not about filtering out people who aren't smart enough. No. It's a system that weeds people out who don't have certain social, cultural, or financial resources, what researchers call capital, no matter how brilliant they might actually be.
So, if this filter is real, how does it actually work? Well, Dr. Rodas's research pinpoints a whole set of unwritten rules that really decide who makes it and who doesn't. Let's break down exactly what they are.
The whole framework kind of boils down to four key parts. First, you keep the PhD rare to make sure it stays valuable. Second, the system rewards what's called cultural capital, which is basically just already knowing the lingo and how to act like you belong. Third, it has a tendency to cut students off from their friends and family. And last, there's a whole hidden curriculum of unspoken rules that some people seem to know instinctively, while others have to figure it out the hard way, if they ever do.
So, here's the real takeaway. Success isn't just about being smart. It has a lot to do with your background. The whole game is tilted from the very beginning. And this isn't just a theory. The data paints an incredibly clear picture.
And wow, look at this. This chart basically visualizes that whole cultural capital gap we were just talking about. What you're seeing here, based on patterns in national data, is that first-generation students and students from underrepresented backgrounds drop out at much higher rates. It's not because they're less capable, it's because they're trying to win a game in a system that wasn't built with them in mind.
And it's not just a cultural thing. Follow the money. This chart shows a massive difference in who finishes based on funding. If you have stable, guaranteed funding for years, you are way more likely to finish than someone who has to pay their own way or juggle a bunch of side jobs. This proves the problem is baked into the structure of the system. It's not just about individual grit. So when you mix together all these hidden rules, these cultural pressures, and the financial stress, what you end up with is this really powerful culture of insiders and outsiders. If you don't have the right background or the right funding, you're just constantly battling this feeling that you don't really belong there. And inside that insider group, a really toxic culture can take root. This quote from Dr. Rodas just hits so hard. Sacrifice and suffering are reframed as proof of worth. All the burnout, the anxiety, the insane hours, they stop being problems and start becoming badges of honor. It's treated as proof that you're serious. It's a dynamic that can feel, as the research points out, almost cult-like.
Okay, so it all sounds a bit bleak, right? But it absolutely does not have to be this way. The research doesn't just point out the problem, it actually shows us a path forward. The goal isn't to make things easier, it's to redefine what rigor even means.
And this, right here, is the absolute key to fixing things.
We can have incredibly high academic standards. We should have them, but we can do it without putting students through some kind of cultural hazing, without making them worry about rent every month, and without wrecking their mental health. Rigor and cruelty are not the same thing.
So what would that actually look like? Well, the recommendations are really practical. First, you make all those unwritten rules explicit, so everyone knows them. You provide stable, humane funding. You hold advisors accountable for actually helping students. You build real communities to fight that feeling of isolation. And you start treating mental health as essential for success, not an obstacle to it.
And why should anyone outside of a university care about any of this? Because getting a Ph.D. isn't just some abstract academic exercise. The people who make it through this filter, they become our top scientists, our senior researchers, our policymakers. This system is actively shaping who gets to lead our society, who creates our knowledge, and whose voice gets heard.
So we end up back where we started, but now with a totally new perspective. The real question isn't whether a Ph.D. should be hard. Of course it should be. The real question is, can we build a system that demands the highest intellectual standards but without all the exclusionary gatekeeping? According to this research, the answer is a resounding yes. And frankly, the future of our leadership kind of depends on it.